Hey, thanks for tuning in. Today we're going to be exploring the Planet Umbris in the Ratchet Clank HD collection. I started this project where I go through and explore different planets and take different little screenshots from them, really as a desire to showcase the artist's work that went into this. The developer of this game series is Insomniac Games. Of course, we're playing the HD collection right now, which Insomniac did not work on. I think they, helped a little bit with sharing assets and such, but the main development of the HD remaster was done by Idle Minds. But for the most part, I think they did a pretty good job of making sure they just reflected the original art instead of embellishing on it too much. So what I've been doing lately is going through each of these planets in the HD collection and finding some really interesting screenshots to take and sharing them in Imager albums. And I've had some requests from some of the fine folks at the Ratchet Clank subreddit to delve into a little more detail about how I go through and get these photos. It is definitely kind of a roundabout way. I know that the PS4 caught a little flack when it was first announced because it had the share button right on the controller. But in reality, that actually is super useful for applications like this. To be able to take screenshots and share them is really a nice feature to have. And unfortunately, the PlayStation 3 did not have that. So obviously, we're playing on PlayStation 3. These games originally released for the PS2, and the remaster obviously came out on the PS3. So there is no native way to share any photos from this game, and there's no native photo mode either, which I think is a real travesty because this is some of the most impressive and influential artwork that I've personally experienced in video games. Granted, it's old, it definitely shows its age, but I still think there's a lot of artistic value to the kind of things we're seeing here. So there is no direct photo sharing mode, so I had to kind of go around my ankles to get to it. I got an Elgato Game Capture HD card, which is one of the few that allows you to record from a PS3. Recording from PS3 is notoriously difficult because the encoded stream in the HDMI makes things tricky. But the Elgato Game Capture HD gets around that. A bunch of technical stuff, not really important. Basically, this is all captured using a Game Capture card, which you'll notice if you watched my first look video earlier. So I go through, play through, and record via the capture card, and then I pull screenshots whenever I take a pause and look around like this in first-person mode. And there's a couple of tricks that I do to, I guess find the most interesting shots that I can. Specifically, I'll go through, as you've been seeing, and I'll clear out all the boxes, all the enemies, so that we're looking at just the core assets of the world as it's built. I really liked the kind of universe that Insomniac created with Ratchet Clank, and that's really what I wanted to showcase in this series. So I'm really looking at it like, hey, if this were an actual universe, if these were real planets, let's showcase what those look like, what kind of terrain we would see, rather than, levels in a video game where you're seeing pickups and stuff. So I'll usually go through and clear a little bit ahead, and then I'll turn back around and take some shots. And I found that this is actually a really fun exercise as kind of like an amateur photography activity, it's, you don't have a lot of camera settings you can change. You can't play with your aperture, you can't play with your depth of field or the lighting or anything like that. You're kind of set down in an environment, and it's up to you to go through and find the most intriguing shots that you can. A lot of times that will be just looking in a place that players particularly don't go look, Even just turning around and looking backwards is something that a lot of players don't see when they look through a video game. You're trying to progress through the end of the level, and you might miss out on a lot of really cool scenery that the devs put a lot of time into putting together. And again, that's really my main reason for wanting to do this, is to showcase the fantastic artwork that the devs put into this. I think that's kind of a travesty among video games that there's so much art that goes into them that like just a very small population ever actually gets to see, the ones that gamers, and then specifically within that gamers, the subset of people that bought that particular game. I think it's also kind of a one of the sad things about video game music is there's a lot of really great soundtracks, both orchestral soundtracks and more poppy kind of soundtracks in games that most people are just never exposed to because you're not going to hear it playing on radio, right? So I would love to see artists in game development receive more recognition, and I'm happy to do anything I can to help put that together, to help further that effort. So one of the things you're seeing me do here is, like I said, trying to get a little more creative with how I find these shots, how I frame these things up. So a lot of times I will go through and find crates that are in the level, which have collision detection built into them, and I'll climb on top of the crates to get a slightly higher shot. And you'd be surprised at like what a difference it makes in the photo, being able to take it from a higher level, even if it's just, you know, 3 boxes high. It seems like a much more, not necessarily professional, but more photo mode kind of version. I actually originally got this idea because of the Spyro World Viewer. Spyro the Dragon is a series that was also done by Insomniac Games. It was one of the first games I owned and hugely influential to me. And some really talented coders put together a world viewing tool that allowed you to go through and explore just the worlds in Spyro. And they're so fantastic, it was great. There was an individual who put together a ton of screenshots on that, and that's currently what is cycling through as my wallpaper. I'm like, man, that's great. I love viewing all these different worlds from Spyro the Dragon. I wonder if there's such a tool for Ratchet Clank, you know, because it's kind of it's an evolution, certainly, but you can certainly see elements of Spyro the Dragon in the design for Ratchet Clank, such as the big, goofy, cartoony worlds, the gliding, platforming mechanics. There's a lot more shooter action in Ratchet Clank, but I mean, the odds are if you like Spyro, you like Ratchet. Oh no, I fell into the mud. Oh well. But unfortunately, there is no Ratchet Clank World Viewer in development right now. So I was like, oh darn, how am I going to be able to go through and explore these? Well, I guess I'll go get the HD remaster, set up the recording equipment, and kind of just do the best recreation of a World Viewer I can. So you see what I'm doing here is I'm using the Morph Array to get rid of the turrets permanently. They're indestructible with any other weapon. You can shoot them and they'll deactivate for a little while, but they'll always pop back up. So if you don't want any turrets in your shots, you have to use the Morph Array, turn them into chickens, and get rid of those. So we're gonna hop on these crates and look around. One of the things I like to do, I like to get a mix of shots during these shoots. I like to kind of get as close to the natural terrain of the planet as possible. So that's usually looking at the skybox, looking at the surrounding areas, the backgrounds. And then I like to obviously get a good mix of the structures, the architecture that you see on that planet as well, which in this case would be Qwark's HQ. This particular level has a lot of interesting tricks that we can do to further our exploration. Obviously, you can get some great shots just by, you know, looking around at the art that, you know, the level design that's already put into the game, just going through it that way. But if you want to get really crazy with the exploration factor, you can use a couple of fun glitches, and Umbris is actually a great level for exploring some of those glitches. So here I want to get kind of a shot of both the sky and these tunnels, not tunnels, this little fort area that we're going through. But there's too many bullets going through, so we'll go ahead and chickenify all of these turrets, and that'll give us a much more clean shot. I was surprised too, like, there's a lot in this planet that I myself didn't recognize from when I played the games originally back in 2003. I've been a huge Ratchet Clank fan ever since, 2002 is when this came out. And I've replayed them, I've mastered them 100% over and over and over, but I still find that, like, whenever I go back and play them again, there's always a little something somewhere that I didn't notice the first time through, you know? Like, in the skybox to this level, there's a little, there's a planet that looks like Uranus, there's a planet with a ring around it, and it's like, oh, I didn't notice that before, I thought it was just a gray, cloudy sky, you know? So here we're getting into Qwark's bunker proper. You can see his fun little Qwark statue. Get a little shot of that, just because it's humorous to me. And this is where we're about to get into some of the glitchy exploration that's a lot of fun. Now, in a way, sometimes when you're exploring with glitches, it can be a little bit of a letdown. There's a couple of glitches in Spyro the Dragon, for example, that allow you to leave the boundary of the world. And then you'll see that you know, you want it to be like a full living, breathing world, but once you get past the game boundaries, you see that's kind of a facade, you know? It's just made to look pretty for the areas that you can see. And we're going to see a little bit of that in Umbris, but it's also a good way to get to places that you normally couldn't and get some fun shots. So here we got these Hydro Displacer puzzles, and they're really key to what's going to let us start exploring some of the level in a little bit here. I can't seem to go through here, and I'm going to use one of the most important tricks for level exploration in these games, the Decoy glove trick. So what I'm doing here is I'm using these Decoy gloves, which allow you to spawn a decoy of yourself with collision detection, and I'm kind of squishing myself into a corner with them. You throw out a couple of decoys directly in front of you, you start shaking, the game is not really sure what to do with this, you know, it's trying to shove too much collision detection into a tiny space, and it doesn't really work. It's a little bit tricky to do. It doesn't always work, but if you can do it right, then what should happen is it's going to phase me through the wall here. Obviously, ammo on this is limited, so it's super helpful if you have the Gadgetron PDA that allows you to buy ammo remotely.
Hi there, Fuzzball.
Ammo is more expensive this way, but as you can see, I've got 340,000 bolts. I've already got the Rhino. We've got plenty of bolts to play with. I'm not too worried about it. Now, this wall hack also really only works on solid walls, like flat walls. You can't do it on a ramp. Alright, so you can see we got through. We are on the inside of this wall here. Oh no! The problem is there's usually not a lot of collision detection built outside of the level boundaries. So it's real easy to fall. So I decided to give up on that particular exploration because it didn't look like there was really anything interesting behind that wall. We're going to go ahead and move forward. I realized I need to get some water from this Hydro Displacer here to continue. This aspect can be a little bit tedious. I love Ratchet Clank. I love the variety of gameplay. I love that there's puzzles in addition to action. But I think that in a lot of reviews and stuff, you'll often find that's one of the things that's, if not criticized, at least not praised, is like the level of complexity with the puzzles and gadgets and such. A lot of times, it's less about solving interesting puzzles in a Portal-esque kind of manner, and more about just doing some busy work, running back to and doing some backtracking to get some water to fill a pool. So here, like I said, I'm doing what I told you about, where I'm standing on top of a crate in order to get a slightly higher perspective. And it offers interesting challenges because, as you can see here, these crates are in my way. So sometimes I'll have to decide what order I want to take photos in, right? Like, I'll need to use certain crates to get certain photos, but I'll need to clear those crates out in order to clean it up for later photos. And as I said, it's a fantastic exercise as kind of a virtual photography course, you know? Just to play with framing, see what looks interesting, and really get you in the mindset of exploring your environment and trying to find, you know, new perspectives that really shake things up. Alright, so I got some really cool photos of this awesome, great big bunker that this Qwark's base. It's really kind of imposing, which is interesting because Qwark's a very goofy character who's very silly. Oh, here we go. They forgot to put in some collision detection on this wall, and now we're outside the level boundaries. Look at that. Fun stuff, huh? Alright, so here's where the fun really starts to happen, right? There's a little patch of water here. If you swim outside the patch of water while you're behind a wall, it allows you to swim through the entire level. Now, it's a little hard to tell exactly what the boundaries are because there's a lot of pop-in. The game doesn't really know how to process all this, but now we're swimming around, exploring. This is where things get really fun. So here we're swimming around. We're obviously over a bunch of lava. This is where you fight the Blargian Snagglebeast. That's the boss of this level. Pretty nifty. We're going to swim over here, see how far we can go. This is the hangar, which is super fun. You actually never get to enter this during the actual game. It's used during a cinematic. After you beat the Blargian Snagglebeast, there's a cinematic where you come in here and pick up one of these ships and use that to fly to the next area. But, oh, some mud popping in here. I'm not really sure what to do with that. So what we're seeing here is an area that you actually can't access in the normal game. That's really fun. Now, the downside to swimming is you can't go into first-person mode, so you can't really take any fun photographs. But there is a way to undo the swimming glitch. Looks like there's no collision in these Blargian ships. Alright, so if you go to the goodies menu and you watch any of the end-level movies, and then you back out of it, you'll stop swimming, right? So now we can go into first-person mode, take some cool photographs of this hangar. It's not super interesting, but I'm excited to see it just because, like I said, it's a place that you normally can't get to in the game. So we'll look around and we can see this little vista here off in the distance. There's that planet I was talking about with the rings around it. I didn't notice in my original playthroughs. Here you can see a lot more of Drek's ship, which is interesting because you don't actually get this ship until Gimlick Base. It's a level that comes a little bit later. This is the ship that you get the red Captain Qwark space cruiser from. Now, unfortunately, it looks like we might be trapped in this area because those doors are shut. They normally keep you from getting through to here. And I'm really surprised that there's really any collision detection at all in this area. Since this isn't an area you're supposed to be able to access, I should just be falling through the floor all the way through here. But it's kind of funny with the things that they actually flesh out and make into like a real level. We still have some of that mud popping in. It's kind of weird. I'm going to play around with that, see if that's going to kill me. It doesn't look like it is. I'm not totally sure what causes it to pop in or not. So here I think I'm going to try to get through this door, and I don't think it's going to work. I'm looking to try and check the solidity of the door. I figure I'm going to use the decoy glove trick. Oh, did I get through? Pretty close. Oh, nope, not quite. One of the trickiest things about making this work is figuring out exactly where you are because the camera starts freaking out and shaking, and a lot of times you'll end up running back out of the wall after you've already gotten through it. Alright, let me try again here. Gotta restock our decoy glove. Oops, forgot to switch back to it. Now, this particular wall hacking glitch actually works in all three of the Ratchet Clank games. Ratchet Clank 2, Going Commando, is actually the best one for exploration because there's a ton of really fun glitches that you can do in that, specifically a wall climb glitch, which lets you really go anywhere you want to in the game. But here, pretty much the only exploration glitch you have is this wall hacking, which leads to other glitches as well, like the swimming glitch that I showed you on this level. The decoy glove returns in Going Commando, so you can also do it in that one. And there's no decoy glove in Ratchet Clank 3, but there is a turret glove, which lets you do essentially the same thing. The only downside is there's no infinite ammo. There's no Gadgetron PDA. There's one in Ratchet Clank 3, but it doesn't work on the turret glove. So this and Going Commando are really the only two that let you explore with the decoy glove pretty much infinitely. So we went ahead and pretty much discovered all that we could find in that hangar area. No, I seem to have forgotten that I need water from the earlier pools to get up here. Let's try and take a shortcut. It did not work. We really explored most of what we can see behind this this big structure here. I'm going to try to decoy through this. I don't remember if it worked or not. But the really fun thing about that swimming glitch is it allows you to swim throughout the earlier parts of the level as well and get on top of some of the towers and stuff there. And get some really cool shots. Yeah, like I said, it really only works if you have a flat vertical wall. These kind of slanted walls tend to be trickier to get through. And I'm about to use up all my decoys. Yeah, I'm not really satisfied that's going to work. So I'm going to go ahead and refill that, and I think this is where I go on. Yeah. Yeah, no shortcuts through here. Now, if you're going for a speed run, that's really where a lot of these glitches are often employed, is to skip areas of the game and get a faster completion, you know. This is a pretty interesting shot. Yeah, the thing I was saying about this whole bunker that Qwark has set up here is it's really ominous and sinister looking, right? And I think that might be a little bit of foreshadowing to say, hey, you know, Captain Qwark isn't the hero, he's a villain in this game, right? Because otherwise he's real heroic and goofy and silly, and now we see this level with these dark metallic, oh no, I got ate by a fish. These dark metallic elements, this kind of sickly green lighting. Everything here just feels really, you know, kind of dangerous. Which, granted, is supposed to be like a fitness course, right? Or an obstacle course that's supposed to test you to your limits. Kind of like an army barracks kind of thing. So first we gotta drain this, whip out our rhino, see if these rockets will heat seek those fish. They're not gonna do that. There we go, got rid of the fish. I know, almost fell down. Refill that, swim on through here. Pop back up, and I don't think there's collision in either of these black walls behind us, but this is the one that leads to the water pool where we can start swimming around the level, and that's what we're super interested in. Now, the tricky thing about the swimming through the level glitch is that you can never, there's two limitations to it. One, you can never rise above the original surface of the water where you jumped in at. If you rise above, then the swimming glitch will stop and you'll start falling. And two, you also cannot swim over any other body of water. If you do that, then the glitch will stop as well. So here we're trying to swim underneath the walls that we just came through. Let's see if we can get back into the main level proper. Oh, hey, look, there's a gold bolt. So again, you can use these glitches, you know, for speed runs or to access secret areas, you know, for gold bolts or whatever. But really, my main interest is just in exploration and taking some photographs of this sweet, sweet scenery. So here's what I'm talking about. We can actually see the tops of these towers here, which is not normally an area you can get to. It's a lot of fun. Here I am testing the collision boundaries on all these towers to see what's going to provide a good setup for a photograph. I'm really interested in this little lighthouse over here. Alright, so that's not solid, but I'm pretty confident that the roof here is solid. Yeah, it looks like I can't swim through that, so that's a good place for me to set up. So I've pretty much picked out these two towers here as some of the more interesting areas. I don't want to really swim too high up and try to get on top of the towers to the right, because I'm worried that I will drop out of the glitch. Here you can swim around and kind of see the backside of the bunker. And this is kind of what I was talking about, where it almost kills a little bit of the magic. I was checking to see if these had collision built into them. Of course they don't. But it'd be great if you could stand on these rocks and take some photos. Get a really new perspective on the level. But again, you can see, since the developers never really intended you to be able to get this far outside on this edge of the level, they didn't bother building around the rest of the bunker. So you see, like, just half of it is jutting off into space there. Which is unfortunate, but at the same time, you gotta recognize that in video games, like, hardware and memory limitations are always something that you're kind of fighting with. So you can really only afford to, you know, render out and show the areas that the player's actually gonna be able to access. It would be a waste of development to try to, you know, build levels or build out the rest of the level where a player's never gonna see. But sometimes you'll be surprised. You might find, like, little areas that either were canceled in development or something of that nature that allows you to find, you know, a secret area. And those are always a lot of fun. So I'm pretty confident this is a solid area. Just check that. I'm trying to make up my mind about whether I want to take photos from the lighthouse or from that tower over there closer towards the main bunker. And I decided I'm going to do this one. So there you see I swam up a little bit. I breached the original surface that I started swimming from, and that canceled the glitch. I could have also used the view in-game schematic glitch as well. So here I'm trying to pop out just far enough that I can get a clean shot without falling off the edge of the roof here. Alright, trying to get a shot of the bunker here. This is a really good one. I really like that. Love these higher perspectives. Like I said, raising your vertical height when you start taking photos in games, just it makes it feel so much more like you're actually exploring the world through some extra program, you know, rather than just taking screenshots of your gameplay. Now, unfortunately, the lighthouse itself gets in the way a lot here. So like you see, I got this big yellow orb in front of me, and that kind of limits what I can actually see. We can get a good picture of the skybox and the surrounding area. Now if I'm clever here, I can kind of get within the cone and take a shot without the yellow on the edge, but I don't think that there's really enough space for me to do that. Alright, so I'm triple checking to make sure I got all the interesting shots from this perspective. And then there's not really much else I can do here, aside from jump in the mud and redo it. So like I said, this can be a little tedious when you're going back and forth through the same areas, but it's also very rewarding as well. Like I said, I really love the world of Ratchet Clank. I'd love to see more people exposed to it, and I just love all the work that developers put into it. Like I said, you can see a lot of cross-pollination with Spyro the Dragon. A lot of the same people that worked on Spyro the Dragon worked on Ratchet Clank, right? After the Ratchet Clank games on the PS2, a lot of Insomniac's staff kind of changed shifts, you know? A lot of them went on to work for high-impact games. There's a lot of new blood brought in. And they're all still very talented people, but you can notice like a distinct difference from the Ratchet Clank PS2 games versus the Ratchet Clank PS3 games or Resistance. Obviously, those are two massively different genres of game. But specifically with regards to the art and the feel of them, there's a distinct noticeable difference. Oh, hey, look at this. We managed to swim inside the Blargy and Snagglebeast cavern. Looks like we got ourselves stuck in the environment here a little bit. Gonna swim up. Oh, no. Fell down. Oh, but this is solid. We can actually walk around here. Isn't that interesting? Now, I want to get a shot of just the skybox, but there's a lot of stuff surrounding me here. Like that spotlight just floating in the air, so that's going to ruin my screenshot. So a lot of what when you're outside the boundary lines, like I said, you can't really tell where collision is, where you're just going to end up falling through the floor. Alright, there we go. We can get a nice shot of the skybox here. Look at that, it's beautiful. So what you can do is you can use a ground-targeted weapon, like the Decoy glove or the bomb glove, and watch where the reticle lands, right? If the reticle lands on anything solid, then you'll be able to see it. Alright, so we got down here inside the Blargian pit. There's a little elevator to get us back out, it looks like. But this looks like the last area that we really need to explore to fully photo document this area. Umbris itself is not one of my favorite levels from the original Ratchet Clank game. Favorite was probably Gimlick Base. Yeah, that one was really just otherworldly and crazy. Oh look, we finally got the music to trigger. There's actually two music tracks in this level. There's one for the boss fight that's been playing pretty much the entire time I've been recording. And what I just switched to is the original music track through the main part of the level. So it's weird where you find those triggers. Okay, so we got this whole room. We're gonna clear out these fish. I managed to get them all. Nope, there he is. Okay. I don't need to raise the water level in this room, I don't think. Let's see, I should be able to just swing through here. Yeah. Swing-a-rooney. Oh, nope, I'm in the water. That's fine. And we're back here with our clever little leave boundaries area. Okay. Pop back in the water. We're going to go ahead and use this opportunity to go back and take some photos from the second tower that I was interested in. Oh, I messed up there. If the camera manages to go through the water as you're diving down, then it's going to tint the screen blue. Obviously, it's going to ruin any kind of photographs you want to. Ah, did it again. Let's see if I can get back up here and find a better place to do it from. Alright, this ought to be far enough away that the camera won't get blue tinted. Yeah, there we go. That's what we're looking for. Now also, as you can see here, you can actually swim through the mud. It's not going to kill you as long as you're in the swimming mode. It's kind of weird what artifacts actually end up staying always visible, right? Versus which ones pop in. Like some of these bolts and rivets are just always going to render. Okay, so here we are on top of this big tower that I was interested in before. Just gotta stop our swimming glitch. I guess I decided that I wanted to see a little bit more around the level before I give up on this. Check and see if any of these things are solid. Nope, these are not solid. You cannot land on those. Okay. So I can't satisfy my curiosity. This is pretty much the best I'm going to get as far as a vantage point. Let's swim up. And that'll drop us down here. Oh no! Oh no! Some of these low areas are actually quite slidey and they won't let you land on them. Well, what do you know? Alright, so that pretty much wraps it up. I'm going to take a couple more shots in here just because this is a kind of interesting area, this big round arena. But yeah, that's pretty much how I go through and take these different photo shoots of these different planets. I hope you enjoy them. If you want to see the results of the photo shoots, I always post them in Imager albums. You should be able to find a link to that in the description. Yeah, and I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching.